Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So big news, Marvel finally confirmed the Luke Cage cast. Now, we'd already heard about Mike Coulter and a couple of the other characters, but now it's official. So just going down the list of comic book characters, we have Cottonmouth. He'll be one of the big villains, of course. His cousin Mariah Dillard, who's actually being played by Alfre Woodard, which is a pretty huge deal. I'm a big fan of hers. But then we have Misty Knight, which is a really big deal. Detective Scarf, which is being played by Frank Whaley, which I think is kind of funny. Then we have Shades, who's also supposed to be one of the villains, although he might be a version of the Stryker character. Not quite confirmed on that yet. And Rosario Dawson, who's continuing to play Claire Temple. Now, technically she's not Night Nurse, but everyone's thinking of her as Night Nurse. Just to talk about a couple of the bigger characters that you guys might not know a lot about. Misty Knight was actually a police officer that lost her arm in the line of duty. Tony Stark gave her a bionic replacement, she started a private detective agency, and proceeded to team up with the heroes for hire, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, etc. She even had a romance with Iron Fist for a brief period. Not a whole lot is known about Cottonmouth's origin, but he does have super strength. He's another drug lord in New York City. Initially, when Luke Cage was framed for drug possession and sent to prison, it was Cottonmouth's drugs that Stryker stole and planted on Cage. So they do have some history together. We'll see how the TV show plays with that. Now, they have released an official synopsis for the series, and it just reads, Luke Cage is a former gang member who is framed for a crime. In prison, he volunteers for a medical experiment that goes awry, giving him super strength and bulletproof skin. Using his newfound powers, Cage escapes and becomes a hero for hire. His arch enemy is Willie Stryker, a former childhood friend from Harlem. The two committed petty crimes together and both fell for the same woman, Reva Connors, which led to their eventual falling out. It was Stryker who framed Cage for a drug deal and sent him to prison. Now that does sync up with the comic book arc, but just like Daredevil, it's going to be based on the comics. It won't be a direct adaptation. They'll just be taking bits and pieces. Now since they just finished casting, it means they're getting ready to start shooting Luke Cage, so I would expect it to drop sometime towards the end of next year. That's usually about how long it takes to finish him. Maybe sometime during the summer, maybe not all the way to the end of next year. Just remember, Jessica Jones is dropping November 20th, so that's like the ass end of the year. I don't know if they'll make us wait that long for Luke Cage. I mean, we're gonna see him in Jessica Jones, it's just that he won't be the main character. He'll probably just be a small part of it. If you want to read some awesome Luke Cage stories from the comics, here's just a couple suggestions. Essential Luke Cage, Power Man, Volume 2, Alias Volume 4, Secret Origins of Jessica Jones, Luke Cage Noir, and then Essential Luke Cage, Power Man, Volume 1. In fact, that last one, Volume 1, is probably the best place to start, especially if you guys have Marvel Unlimited. All of this might not be on Marvel Unlimited, but most of it'll be there. I think a lot of people are wondering what Jessica Jones is going to feel like. They're just, a little bit worried because it doesn't feel like a traditional superhero story, which I think is what's going to make it really interesting. The pitch for Luke Cage just sounds like any other superhero story though. Giant dude punches the shit out of villains. Pretty easy sell. So if you like gangland stories and standard superhero fare, Luke Cage is going to be your show. And if it wasn't clear, a lot of the story will take place in and around Harlem. It's just that Hell's Kitchen is where Daredevil takes place. Jessica Jones is kind of around there. Luke Cage is just going to be on the north edge of that, up near Harlem. I don't know about you guys, but I am super excited to see a nice twist on the Captain America origin story. Hopefully they'll have some visual Easter eggs, just some mirroring for how Steve Rogers got his powers with the Super Soldier Serum. If you didn't know, Luke Cage, or Power Man, however you want to think about him, got his powers from an offshoot program of the Super Soldier Serum. Originally in the comics, whenever he debuted, he was kind of a riff on blaxploitation, so hopefully there'll be some funny blaxploitation jokes. Think about some of the jokes that Quentin Tarantino has in Jackie Brown. Hopefully we'll see some of that type of humor. I mean, make no mistake, we're in the Avengers universe. I mean, the Avengers Tower even shows up in the background of the Jessica Jones teaser. So this is Marvel's world, but Luke Cage is based on blaxploitation. So whenever they do new characters, they're always really good about poking fun at their origins, especially if they're somewhat problematic. Speaking of which, I know a lot of you guys are asking about David Tennant possibly turning purple during Jessica Jones. I have absolutely no idea. I'm not expecting it just because that might end up looking a little bit too funny on screen, but we'll see. Let me know though, which of the Netflix series are you guys most excited about? Daredevil Season 2, Jessica Jones Season 1, or Luke Cage Season 1? Now, obviously I'm not talking about Iron Fist yet because they haven't cast an actor, they haven't found a writer, they haven't found a director yet either. There's just too many things they haven't done with that yet. I think by the end of the year though, they probably will announce a director and a writer. They have to do that before they announce the actor. Bare minimum though, they'll probably announce who's playing Iron Fist by the time Daredevil Season 2 airs. And if you weren't sure about when that is, it's going to be around the same time that Daredevil Season 1 aired, like right around Captain America Civil War. So in related news, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't coming back for 2 weeks, but Gotham Season 2 starts next Monday, and then Heroes Reborn starts next week too. So be sure to subscribe to get everything. I'll start doing a little bit more Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff as we get closer. A lot of you guys have requested that I do some more Luke Cage videos and some more Iron Fist videos. I'll start doing a little bit more of that as we get closer to Jessica Jones. That's actually coming up pretty soon. While you guys wait for all that stuff to drop, you can click here for all my Daredevil Season 2, all my Marvel Netflix videos, and you can click here for this week's episode of Vixen and all my Flash trailers and all that stuff. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.